Hey everyone, it's Rose and welcome back to my channel, and in today's video we're going to talk about the 16 books that I read in March. So March was a mixed month for me. We did have some pretty good reads. I actually had no new 5 stars this month though. However, I did do some rereads that were 5 stars. So I still had that 5-star feeling. They just weren't new finds. But I read 5,991 pages and I read 6 out of the 10 books on my TBR. So not too bad. We did over half of what we said we were gonna. And I guess without further ado, let's get into the reads. I'm gonna go a little bit out of order of when I actually read them because there were a couple authors that I read their books throughout the month and we're gonna chunk them in together just to make things a little bit more interesting for you guys. First up, let's talk about my book club's book pick for the month. That is The Starving Saints by Caitlin Starling, and I actually ended up rating this book 2.5 stars. I really liked the first half and then I felt like we just went really downhill. It's a lot more fantasy than I thought and a lot less horror than I thought. It did get a little bit gruesome at sometimes. There was some good imagery in here that made me shudder, don't get me wrong, but it was much more medieval castle fantasy vibes, and medieval fantasy is just not for me. I thought we'd focus more on the horror because I didn't actually know this was even fantasy. Definitely is. That is not the fault of this author. That is my own fault for not doing enough research on it, honestly. But this was sent to me by Harper Voyager, so thank you guys. I'm sorry I didn't like it. This book follows a castle under siege that is starving. They are going to run out of food. Despite rationing, they are still going to run out until some saints arrive. There's food suddenly coming out of nowhere. What is going on? Where is it coming from? Who are these people? Are they really magic as they say? We are following the perspectives of 3 different women who are in 3 different circumstances in this castle, and we see what they do and what they think and what they think is really going on. Very interesting premise. I think if you really like medieval fantasy, you will enjoy this more than I did. That's just not my vibe. Then another book that started off really strong, and this one ended up being a 3-star. This is Allegedly by Tiffany D. Jackson, and again, the 3-star is my fault. I have seen a lot of people say about this book, when I finished it, I had to sit and stare at the wall because what was that ending? I thought that meant very, very shocking ending. Unfortunately, because of this book's premise, you know throughout the whole thing that the plot twist is going to be either one or the other. And the plot reveals throughout this book are us just flipping between. And then obviously at the end, we flip back again and we land on one final one. Now, the staring blankly at a wall, I again mistook for crazy plot twist, but what it actually meant is this is just a really bleak ending and it makes you feel a bit empty inside, which if you're looking for a book to hurt you, this is a good one for that. I think if I was in a different mood or if I knew what I was getting myself into, I could have liked this a lot more. I was looking for a thriller and I wouldn't say this is a thriller. Again, I should have done more research, but I like going into books blind, and unfortunately that means sometimes I'm disappointed because I'm not getting what I want. But if I did some more research, maybe I'd actually get what I want. Yeah, it started off really strong, but it's just not my thing. However, there are some really important messages in this book that I really did enjoy, and it is definitely not a bad book. It's just not, it's not what I was in the mood for, and that's no one's fault but my own. Time for me to stop saying that though, because after that we had some really good reads. I read 5 books from an author that is quickly becoming one of my favourites. That is none other than Miss Claire Douglas. So I read the couplet number 9 last year and I stayed up until 4 AM to finish it. Her writing, how she can have so many characters but you're never confused about who is who because they are so 3D different from each other and unique. How we can have all these different plot lines coming together, how we can have something so fast paced. Honestly, her writing is so good. I am a thriller lover, we know this, so when I find a good thriller author, I binge the backlist, and that's what I've been working on this month. The first one I read from her was The Girls Who Disappeared by, of course, Claire Douglas, and I rated this one 4 stars. This, oh my goodness, okay, we're set in a small town. 20 years ago, 4 friends are on the way back from, I think it's on the way back from a party. It's 4 girls, and there's a car crash. One girl wakes up in this car from the crash and she is alone. The other 3 girls are never seen again. And 20 years later, she's now in this small town and a journalist comes to the town to find out what really happened and if this girl, now woman, is hiding something what the hell happened? Why is there just no answer? Why is there just no appearance of these girls again? What the hell happened? Why did that one girl get left? So many questions that all get answered, and my goodness, this was so amazing. And of course, that's the one that inspired me to read all these. I did get this 5-book set. They're all standalones, but I got this 5-book set from someone at Christmas, I think. So very grateful for that, because then I had all the books to binge. This is The Woman Who Lied, and I also rated this 4 stars. This is so good. This is about a best-selling thriller crime writer, and she's about to write her final book in this series, and then a crime happens that really mimics one of the crimes in one of the books in this series. And then another one happens, and then another one happens, and then a crime happens that is the exact same as her unpublished last book. So who the hell knows what she's been writing? Who did she give that manuscript to, and did they tell anyone, or was it them? What the hell is going on? She is also being tormented with little clues from her books as well, so who has it out for her? This one had a slower start. I was thinking more 3.5, but the last 100 pages was so good. It was really, really fun. I did kind of guess the last little twist, but there were so many other twists that I did not guess at all, and it was so good. They're the kind of plot twists that are hard to guess, but they completely make sense. Something that annoys me in books, other than with Freida McFadden, because she's a whole different, I have a whole different rating system for that woman's books because they're unhinged, but anyway, back to the topic. If a plot twist happens and I didn't guess it because it just doesn't make sense, that annoys me so much. It needs to be something I haven't guessed, but either there's been clues that I've missed and I can go back and piece it together, or it is something that does actually make sense and makes you go, oh my god, yeah, how did I not get that? Not, oh my god, why are we just adding this random twist in for shock value that makes no sense, you know? And I think Claire Douglas does that really well. Ooh, this one was 4.5 stars. This is The Wrong Sister. This. Okay. We have 2 sisters that each have husbands. One of the couples is really, really rich, okay, and they have a separate villa in Spain. They come to babysit the other couple's children so this couple can go to their villa in Spain and have a holiday away. And then while they're away, the rich couple staying in the other couple's home gets attacked, and the other couple staying in the rich couple's home get a message saying that it should have been you. There is so much more to it than, like, I can't tell you anything, obviously, because I suggest you go into her books blind as possible. But the last 100 pages went from a 4 to a 4.5. It was another one where there was 1 or 2 little tiny hints that I didn't pick up on, but it made sense because they had been put there. It's not my fault I didn't pick up on them, but the author didn't. The author put it there. It all made sense. It wasn't just out of nowhere. Whereas I think some of the lower reviews for this book say this twist come out of nowhere. You would never have known that unless you know this specific information in real life. No, there were a couple hints that I went back and picked up on eventually. Like, it all made sense in the best way possible. This book was so good. I'm getting excited just reliving it because I want you guys to read these so bad. Then we have Last Seen Alive, which I rated 4 stars. This one is kind of hard to explain. This couple does a house swap with another couple because... Okay, let's restart. So we have a really rich couple that house swaps with a couple that just live in a flat in, I think, London somewhere, because their child is going in for surgery and there's no, like, hotels anywhere near, so they're like, can we live in your house? You can live in our big mansion. But they never meet in person to do this. This is all done over the phone or over emails, and then I don't know how much I can tell you. What's in the back? I can't tell you much more than that, but everything is not as it seems. There's past and present timeline in this, and I had no clue. The twist, one of the big twists that happens, is so good. Then we have Local Girl Missing. This is the final Claire Douglas book, and I rated this one at 3.5 stars. The reason I rated it 3.5 stars is because there are less plot twists, and I did guess quite a few. So because there were less anyway, and I guessed a good few of them, there were very few actual plot twists that got me, if that makes any sense. So this is about a woman who finally gets an update 20 years later about the night her best friend went missing. A body has been found. So she goes back to this town to help identify the body, But that never actually ends up happening because strange things start happening. You don't know if you've got an unreliable narrator or not, because what do you mean? Your best friend, you were there the night she went missing. Now she's turned up dead. How did you not know whether she was dead or not? Is she actually dead or not? So many questions. I did guess the big twist of who. I can't tell you, but I guessed who. I can't tell you what they did, but I guessed that. If you know, you know, and if you don't, you're gonna have to read to find out, because it was still really, really good. Okay, enough of Claire Douglas, although I will never get enough of her. Let's move on. I read my first romance book of the year. I'd read basically nothing but thrillers and a couple of fantasy, and I finally needed a romance. So of course it had to be Sapphic, my first romance of the year, and I read Iris Kelly Doesn't Date by Ashley Herring Blake. This is the third and final book in the Bright Falls series. This is a complete Sapphic trilogy with three, well, they end up being best friends, but it's three different women finding their Sapphic love stories, and this one was my favourite of the series actually. It was such a good way to end off the series. Such a fun fake dating situation. Friends to lovers, fake dating, everything like that. The cliche tropes are always so much better to me when it's two women. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I like women. Anyway, this was really fun. It was my favourite of the series, and I really recommend these if you want a fun romance Sapphic series. Okay, then I have The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. This is one of those classic ones that I can't believe I haven't read yet, and I think I read this one in a reading vlog as well. I can't remember. I ended up rating this book 3.5 stars. This was really good. I so understand why people would hate the turn this took, but because it was done in such a fun way, I wasn't mad about it. I just had a really good time. I was just like, of course, me and Riley Sager are very, very hit or miss, so I went in with low expectations, and I think that's why I enjoyed it so much, because I wasn't really annoyed by that twist, because I wasn't expecting amazing things. This is about a woman who's escaped her family lake house. Her husband drowned in said lake, actually, years ago now, I think, but she's escaped because of the media outstorm, because she's an actress and she's also a struggling alcoholic. And then one day she sees a woman in the house across the lake drowning, and she saves her from drowning, and then she starts spying on the house because she's convinced something is going on. We follow her before and after, and my god, this is, don't go into this expecting things to make sense, because it will only annoy you. Just go into this for a fun time and you will be pleasantly surprised, I believe. Next up, we have Local Woman Missing by Mary Kubica, which I rated 4 stars. This one was, oh my god, this was such a good book. So, this is about a woman and her 6-year-old daughter who go missing. 11 years later, the daughter is found, the woman is not. What the hell happened? We're following before and after from multiple different perspectives. I loved how they all tied together so much. This was so good, so bleak, so sad, but also so tense. I actually had to stop listening to this. I was listening to the audiobook and I had to stop because I was getting too scared to go to sleep. There was like something so chilling at the end of one of the characters, at the end of one of the chapters, that I had to be like, this is enough. I need to watch something funny on YouTube before I go to bed because I'm scared right now. I had to turn my light back on. I was listening to it in the dark because I was falling asleep and I was like, no. It was good. It was chilling and it was so fun. Not fun. Scary, but not scary. It was good. It was really good. Read it. I always struggle with videos like this. I'm not good at describing books. I had a good time. My favourite series of all time, I've talked about it so many times on this channel, the Scott Great Pleasant series. It is my comfort series. I started it when I was a child and I'm still reading them as they come out as adults. I reread them like at least once a year for comfort anyway. And as of right now, the next book has just released. It's on my shelf. It's on my April TBR. I cannot wait. So in preparation for that, I read a few of the latest books. I didn't do a full reread because there's 18 books out, okay? And I know the first like 10 off by heart. So I read the latest few and most of them were rereads, but there were actually a couple. There was 2 that started off as stories told for a podcast and then they got published into books, but I listened to them on audio because it's a full cast like the podcast, and that was how I recommend you do it because it was so much fun. Little extra side stories that I'd never read from this world before, which I'm always looking for because, like I said, I know some of these books off by heart. First of all, I have The I still don't know how to pronounce it. Grimoire? I don't really know. It is basically a bunch of bonus content from the first 15 books. So I thought, let's reread this. I can get a little refresh of the first 15 because there is a big time jump after book 15 to the newest trilogy that's just been finished. It's on my shelf, I'm looking at it and I'm so excited. But anyway, but it is so much more than that, and I would really recommend the audio for this. I listened to the audio of this, a lot of it on a train ride, and it brought me a lot of comfort. There are like interviews with different characters from different books. There are little side like stories that you haven't seen before. It is written like it's a book being stored in the archives of the shelves that no one is going to see, so it's like supposed to look messy. There is an actual storyline going through this with the different archivists that are working on this book. So like this part will be a collection of information that one of the archivists has found, and then the next one will be like a note from the archivist. Sorry, the person that was originally going to do this has just stopped showing up to work and it's unanswering the call, so I guess I'm going to continue with this, but bear with me because I don't really know what's going on. And then we have the third and then the fourth one, and then the reveal at the end is so good and ties this all together so well. So whilst it is a lot of extra info, it is also a story in itself. I love Derek Landy. That man is a master. I was going to say a masterpiece. His books are a masterpiece. That man is a genius, an evil genius at times. Anyway, then we have got book 16, A Mind Full of Murder. Now I can't tell you anything about this. Is book 16. I've talked about this series so many times. It's low fantasy. It starts as children books and goes up to more young adult books as the characters learn and grow, and so do the people reading them. 5 stars. I love it. I loved it a lot more on the second time around. It's definitely not my favourite of the series, but I love this new trilogy because it's new content and I haven't read it 20 times yet. Only 3. Then we have the first one of those podcast ones. This is called The Haunted House on Hollow Hill. It's a story within itself. It is so much fun. It's got so many funny side characters, and I really recommend the graphic audio because it's got all those like sound effects and stuff that come with it. It's literally a movie in your mind. It's so much fun. Then we have A Heart Full of Hatred, the until now latest book out in the series. Again, 5 stars. I had only read this book once before and I'd actually forgotten it of how this ended. I could cry with how excited I am for that book over there because of how this ended. It just made me even more excited to read that book. I don't know what I'm going to do once I've read it though, because I don't know what else is coming in this series, because that's the trilogy in the series completed, so I don't know what's coming. Anyway, you guys don't care about this. I could make a whole video on this series if you want, but for now, let's just say I rated this 5 stars. And then the second audio one, which I don't actually have because I didn't know it'd even come out, because it's just a little like bonus thing, but I do want the copy of it now. It was really fun. It is called A Small Matter of Impending Catastrophe, and I rated it 4 stars. This one was really fun. Had one of my favourite side characters added. I wish he was part of the main series because he's really funny. And then we have my final read, which was a dark taboo romance called Heavy by M.L. Burns. It was around 500 pages. And I ended up rating this 3.5 stars. This book so pleasantly surprised me because from what I'd seen, I thought I wasn't going to love it. But I loved the first 50% so much. It's so much more of a slow burn than it's made out to be from what people have said about it. From around 50 to 75, I didn't love it. There was one scene I really loved, but it felt a little bit slowed down. But then we picked back up with getting reveals of all the like mysterious traumatic past of both the characters, and oh my god, I could have cried. M.L. Burns really drags out whether or not you know these characters are okay or not. She doesn't give you any relief. I need to read her entire backlist. Desperate Run from Hell was 5 stars. But yeah, I rated this 3.5 stars because of that little bit there. But it was so good. I will absolutely continue this series, and it was really fun and not what I expected in the best way. So those are the 16 books I read this month. A pretty good reading month. Although I had no new 5 stars, I reread a comfort series, which is always going to be a good time. Obviously, that's why it's a comfort series. Let me know what you read this month, how many books you read, did you read anything I did, and let me know what I should prioritise for April. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you'd like to see more from me, as I post new videos every single week. I have a really fun reading vlog I'm about to start filming, so stay tuned for that. But I hope you have a lovely day, and I will see you in another video. Bye.